Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Miss Abby94, and you already know what it is. I'm back at it again with the back at it again with another recap. Y'all already know. I haven't told y'all how I feel about the finale of The Bachelorette, but you already know. If you want to hear my thoughts, my feelings, my everything, you know what you got to do. You got to stay tuned, like, duh. Hey, what is up, y'all? And welcome back to my channel. First of all, I just want to kind of address the obvious. This video is super late. Like, I think this might be the latest I've ever been. And honestly, y'all, I really busy last week. It was super hard to do 2 live streams and do my normal life. Like, I was not planning to do that, so that really derailed my schedule for shooting recaps and everything. But I did it because I really fuck with y'all. So many people were like, Abby, live stream. So I really spread myself too thin. I would insert the clip of the recap I tried to shoot on Wednesday night. It was super late. I was so exhausted. Like, I really tried to give it to y'all on time, y'all, but it just wasn't gonna happen. So for those who have come this far, who are still willing to hear my thoughts on the finale, even though it was last week, I fucks with you the long way. And for those who, you know, are like, bitches late, I hope you still watch anyway. So thank you so much for everyone who did tune into the live stream of the finale. It was so lit, it was so cracking, and I so always enjoy interacting with all of you. It's always so much fun. It's always a movie, and y'all made it a movie. Y'all made it a big movie. Like, almost 600 people were in the live stream at one point. So I'm just grateful. I'm thankful. I'm thankful to the new subbies who found me through it. And for everyone who's been fucking with me all season, thank you a million times over. This is for you, because I really was not going to do this recap. I really wasn't. But it's for my loyals, my day ones who want this regardless of the timeline. So with that, I want to kind of get into this recap. I'm going to switch up my style of the recap a little bit. I'm not going to go too detailed into what happened, because I think at this point, y'all would have seen the episode. So the main point of me doing this recap is to really let you know my thoughts of what I see happening in the future, and just how I see things progressing and my overall feelings on the season. So that's going to be the style of this recap. So if you're interested, let's get into this finale recap. Okay. Okay. Now, coming into the season, I did say that I predicted that Becca would be like the fun Bachelorette. And if you want to know where these predictions were, it was in my preseason cast critique video. And I'll link it down below. But in that video, I really talked about how I thought Becca was going to be the fun Bachelorette. She was going to come in after having a hard time with Ari and having her heart broken. She was going to come in with her personality, almost wanting to be bros with the guys. She was going to give each guy a fair shot. She was going to just be like the fun Bachelorette, the one that didn't want anyone to feel like they weren't getting a piece of her, in a sense. And I do think that she lived up to that prediction. I think her style was definitely like, she wanted everyone to feel like they knew her. She wanted every guy to feel like they had a chance. And because of that, it made it hard for her to let go or break up with certain guys. So this really leads to my critique of her. I think as a Bachelorette, she really struggled with, one, breaking up with the guys. I think she didn't struggle with making the decision of who to send home. She struggled with how she sent the guys home. Okay, so for instance, when Becca was feeling like it's time to send someone home, she knew who she was thinking was gonna go home. She always knew. And when I say this, it's Leo, it's Wills, it's Jason. If you go back to those episodes, she starts acting off and starts acting dramatic as soon as she puts 2 and 2 together that, oh, they're going home. She'll start like, oh my God, I don't know where these feelings are coming from. Oh my God, I just feel so detached today. Oh my God, I feel so disconnected. And it will always be on the date where that person has like a one-on-one date and she knows that she has to send them home. And I would just be like, that really would piss me off, because it's like, you knew what you wanted to do, right? You knew you wanted to send them home, and instead of being straightforward, you're doing the most. Like, she would literally start doing the most and making it seem like she was so torn up about it, and that it came out of nowhere, when it was like, it was premeditated. Like, let's keep it real, let's keep it 100. You knew what you wanted to do, you knew they had to go, but you felt bad about it. And that's one thing that I try to give her slack on, because I understand that she felt really bad about hurting people, and so she tried to do it in the most gentle way. But in a sense, I think it kind of hurt her stance as Bachelorette, because it made her look like almost a little flaky, a little too soft about it, a little fake. Like, it would just come off like, you know what you, I'd just be like, girl, send him home. Like, what are we doing all this for, boo? What are we doing? Just bye. And it was so many times during the season that I saw she kept falling into that same trap. Number 2 critique. Becca does not like to be challenged. Once her mind is made up, she does not know how to articulate what she's feeling. She would often, you know, when it was time to send a guy home, after she finally got to that point, after doing all the dramatics, her go-to line, just like Ari, her predecessor, she would say, "Can I walk you out?" Like, as the person is processing and as the person is coming to terms with the fact that what went wrong, what did I do, what was it, because she would do the most right before sending them home, so they would be thinking something just happened, so they'd be trying to figure it out, and she wants to cut it off. They'd ask her, okay, what was the point, what was the moment, what broke our relationship up, and she would go back and forth and be like, I don't even know what to tell you. She did that with Jason. I don't have words to tell you. I think there are certain relationships you can't necessarily explain why you're breaking up. It's just that it's a little behind some of the other relationships. That's an okay explanation. But she used that for almost all of the harder breakups. And she wouldn't give them the chance to really press her on how they were feeling and why they were going home. She just wanted to cut off all communication as soon as she made her mind up. And I think I said that around, when she was confronting Chris. She was confronting Chris about people were saying he was aggressive and that he was taking control of the house, and people were afraid to room with him. And it was all these rumors that were going on around about Chris. And instead of pulling Chris aside and asking him, hey, is everything going okay? You know, I've heard some concerns. She was basically just attacked. Like, she just was like, so, you know, I heard you're aggressive in the house. And like anyone who is posed, you're not giving a person a chance to clear their name. You're just coming through with your own opinion. And that's something that I think really carried into Becca's like articulation when she was sending guys home. She would often just kind of be like, well, I'm sorry, you'll be fine, but I don't know what to tell you. And I think that really pissed me off. It really annoyed me with her. And as far as critiques go, I really had to talk about that, because I feel like these 2 big critiques really impacted what she did in the finale and what she was coming into this season, what she was looking for. Because if you have followed her story, she is someone that I feel deserves the world. And I don't want this to be misconstrued. I believe she deserves the world, okay? But her history and the type of behavior she accepts and the type of guy she tends to go for are the ones that give her absolutely no emotional security, absolutely no 50 and 50. They're always the person that's lacking. And this season and how it ended all goes back to what we know of her in Ari's season. This is something I talked about in my recaps for Ari's. When it comes to Becca, when it came to Becca and Ari, she was always the one reassuring him. Right up until the finale. She was giving him words of affirmation. She was telling him why it was going to work, why they would be good together, why she loves him so much. And Ari in turn would give her nothing. And she could sense it. She would ask him, is everything okay? Is there anything I need to reassure you about? Is there any clarification you need? And he would just be like, not really. I mean, I think you pretty much told me everything I need to know. Like, she was constantly reassuring him. And some might say, oh, that's because what the show was, and oh, that's because of she was on The Bachelor and she was supposed to put herself out there. Yes, I agree. But I also think that it says a lot about the relationship that they had. He wasn't all the way into her. At no point was he fully invested, and she could sense that. But yet, instead of challenging that emotion, she became complacent. She became, what can I do to make this work? What can I do to make him see that it's me? You know what I'm saying? What can I do to create a stronger bond between us? And that's another thing that I think really influences her dating patterns, is that she always wants to reassure the guy. She always wants to bring her best to the table, and then for some reason she's not examining what that guy is bringing to her life and to her table. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes if you really look closely, they're doing absolutely the minimal, and for some reason that's been a pattern of who she goes after. And I think I had to say all of that to set the stage on how I feel about this finale. We know it's the finale, so it's her chance to introduce her family to both Blake and Garrett. Now, first of all, Garrett meets her family. And at this meeting is her sister, her mom, her uncle, and some older gentleman. I'm gonna just call him Grandpa. I don't know, I don't remember his role, but those are the people in her hometown, and they all have some level of influence on her opinions, her values, and everything. Garrett comes in. He speaks to each person, and when he's speaking to the sister, he tells her that he's in love with Becca because she makes him a better man. She makes him more passionate. She makes him want to give her more love. Basically saying that because Becca made him feel comfortable enough to open up, given his past of being married, and we know, y'all know how I feel about that, he felt comfortable giving her love because she gave him love. Now, everything I just said, I think y'all can see it in the lines, right? Sandwiched right there. So peep that. So Garrett cries to the sister. The sister is just so imparted by this. She is just so engrossed by him showing so much emotion about her sister. And I think she tells him, don't be afraid to show your emotion. Don't apologize for crying. That's what she needs. She needs someone who's going to be emotional, right? So it looked like it went well. Then Garrett, he talks to the uncle. Now the uncle asks him straight up, how you were married for 2 months. How is it gonna work with Becca? And he says the difference, you know, the marriage for 2 months really happened, it ended because of the wife. The wife, there was a big blowout in the family, and the wife didn't want to meet the family halfway, didn't want to be involved in making sure the issue was clear. The wife was just hard to deal with, and that is something that really was the issue. And that's something that he knows he doesn't want to go back to. And he says with Becca, he can tell that they will work together, they'll work through difficult times, and they'll be a partnership, and they'll be a team. And that's really what is the difference here in this relationship. He also talks about, the uncle asked, okay, if you get through struggles, if you face hard times, how do you know you can push through? Given, you know, Becca's background, she's been through a lot, having a dad who passed from cancer. And Garrett says, I know I can get through struggles because I have had people in my family have cancer. I have gone through hard times, but one thing I've always leaned on is my family. And I know that Becca does the same thing. And for that reason, I think that we can get through anything. And of course, he cries to the uncle. And the uncle's looking at him like, oh my God. Oh my God. You really crying over Becca? Oh, we like him. He's really wrapping the family in, taking him in his clutches with all of the tears and emotions he's showing. They're loving that someone this emotional is here and that into Becca. So I think at this point, the date has gone well for Garrett. He does talk to her mom, and he tells her basically that he's in love with her. He can't see his life without her, and she's really lit a fire in his heart, and it's changed his outlook on love, and that he's going to do whatever he can to protect her and protect her from everything, right? Overall, the family absolutely was taken by Garrett, and I was very impressed with the way he handled the family, even though I cannot stand him. And y'all know I can't. I was impressed because I could tell that he used all of the tools in his toolkit to get this family on his side. Given everything that I thought would go wrong with that meeting, he was able to pull them all in. And for that, I was like, well played, Garrett. And even Becca has a conversation with her sister, and her sister briefs Becca on what happened between her and Garrett. And she says, you know what, when we talked, it felt like I'd known him forever. And also, Garrett cried. He showed so much emotion, and I love that someone that passionate was there for you. And Becca could not believe that Garrett cried. She was just like, he cried? And her sister was like, yeah, looking at her like, really? He's never cried in front of you? And Becca's just, she didn't say anything like, oh, he's never cried in front of me, but she was looking very taken aback, but also super excited and pleased to hear that he showed so much emotion about her. But again, this is the first sign of where I was like, red flag. Red flag. This man has never shown this emotion to you. But as soon as he gets in front of your family, he waterfalls are coming down his face. The waterfalls can't stop. I was just like, sis, is that not a red flag? That someone will come in front of your family? Basically, it was a play. Because if you've never gotten that type of emotion from him, but yet he could cry at every step, at every single family member's face, but never to your face. But okay, sis. Overall, that went well. And it went well because Garrett sold them a story. He sold them emotion that he's never given to Becca. And that's something that I find problematic. It's something that I think she should pay attention to more before she makes a decision. And I think it's something that everything I've already mentioned before, she should remember that if this guy is not showing you a certain amount of emotion, but he's showing it to your family, is he being genuine? Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes peeled, Becca. So then, Blake meets the family. Now, Blake is coming into a hard position. One, we know that Blake, people say, oh, he's unstable, he's not confident, he's always needing reassurance, he comes off very hard to deal with. And I think I've told y'all consistently that I think Blake comes off this way because he genuinely loves Becca. He is someone that has shown consistently and said consistently how much he's willing to do for Becca. He said that I will be your best friend. No one can love you more. No one can take care of you better. And no one is going to be in this like I'm going to be in this. And that's something that Blake has said consistently. Yes, he's been in his head. He's been anxious. But I think that those emotions all come from the fact that he is genuinely into Becca. He likes her. He loves her. And he could see himself. He started to plan his life with Becca. And once he started to sense that maybe she was falling for another guy, that's when he started to really get in his head. And so that is really the basis of this hometown date. I think at this point, Blake is in his head. He's hoping that he can get the family on his side. He's hoping he will have a favorable hometown with Becca's family because of all of the doubts he already has about Becca potentially picking Garrett. So Blake goes in. He says hello to the family as he's coming in. All the family is like, oh my God, he's so cute. Is that a movie star? Like, we hear all of the background noise of them seeing Blake coming through into the scene. And I was like, yes. He's a whole snack. I know y'all didn't get no eye candy yesterday, but he's coming through today, okay? He talks to them, tells them about the first day, how they were smashing the bottles and breaking y'all remember their first day where they're breaking the TV, all the stuff that had to do with Ari. And then the family asks, okay, so you hadn't had a date from your first date to like 2 weeks ago. You didn't have a date. You had to keep pushing through with no time. And how did you deal with that? And he was like, you know, it would be hard because I would see other guys go on dates and they come back with roses, and then it would get me into my head a little bit. And one thing, as soon as Blake starts detailing how he would get in his head, he would get all off base, not having time, but seeing other guys have time and be more confident in their relationship, Becca was like, ah! And then we went to the Bahamas. And we had a really good date. Like, she literally cut him off mid-sentence as soon as she sensed that Blake was about to start mentioning the other guys to her family. Like, she was like, we're not going there. We have a seat, honey. And I was just like, In that moment, I saw that that could have either been one, a protection moment for Garrett, or two, blocking him from getting into speaking about his insecurities to her family. I couldn't figure it out, but I thought, point to recognize. But anyway, Blake meets with the sister. The sister asks, why is this a good relationship with Becca? What makes this different? Similar question that she asked Garrett. And Blake says, I have been around strong women my whole life. I've been raised by strong, independent women. And I think because of this, I've always been attracted to strong, independent women. And that's something that I really admire in Becca. She's an independent woman. But at the same time, I feel like we can be on the same level. We can be a partnership. We push each other to grow. And I know that I will love her and be there for her in all aspects of life. So the sister was like, oh, okay. I like that answer. I think she was already kind of sold on Garrett, but she started to see that, okay, this guy is a little more sensible. Blake wasn't crying. He wasn't crocodile tearing his way through this whole meeting. He was being direct and honest, and he was articulating how he felt about Becca and why he felt he was a good fit for her because of his ideals and his values. And I think that it's very apparent that he didn't have to do the most to get that across. The sister felt that. And so I think that went pretty well. So then he talked to the uncle. And the uncle was like, so, Blake, we met, you know, glad to meet you, good, have a seat, want some water, cool. So I know you're in this house with Garrett, we met him yesterday, just wanted to, you know, check in with you and ask, like, do you feel like there's anything we need to know about Garrett? And I was like, what we are, sir, what we will not do. Whew. I cannot stand. This is the second season in a row this has happened. It's clear, it's been clear that the uncle favors Garrett. As soon as he met him, he was, I don't know what he was, but he was here for Garrett, right? And I don't doubt that this happens season after season. But what I do know is that they understand that because of the show, there's still two people involved at this stage. And I do know that they know who the two people are. They've been briefed by the lead about what their background is, and I know they have some information on who they're meeting. What I don't like is the fact that that person has taken their time, they've invested their emotion, they've gotten to this point, especially in Blake's position, is doubting himself at every point just to come into a family meeting, meet her pseudo-father figure, and have him ask about the other man. Like, the blatant disrespect. I don't care if Garrett was the one at this point. I don't care if that's who you like. You show the person respect, and you ask them questions even if you don't give a damn about what they tell you in return. You do that because you respect the fact that there is still another guy in front of you. And if you cannot do that, don't come on TV and don't be a part of the hometown. Because I'm quite sick of it. Like, and the thing that pissed me off the most was how smug his face was. Like, he was genuinely thinking like Blake was about to spill the tea. And I'm just like, wow. Blake, being the guy he is, he was just like, we didn't really get to see how he responded, but in his confessional, he's saying, I don't want to talk about Garrett. I'm sick of talking about Garrett. This is not good. I feel off. I feel like how I felt with my ex-girlfriend where I had that feeling that something wasn't right. He's admitting in his confessional that he feels like the tone of this hometown is not good. And he feels like he lost to Garrett. And so he goes and talks to her mom. And the one thing that sticks out with this meeting with the mom is that she tells him, you know what, it was good to meet you, but I want you to know that no matter what happens, you will be okay. You know that, right? And he's like, yeah, I know that. And I thought, wow, it's over. Wow. I think the mom thought that was a nice thing to say. She thought that maybe she said it to Garrett. We didn't see that scene, but we know she said it to Blake. And it just came off very dismissive. It came off like, I'm letting you know now. I want to massage you right now and let you know you will be fine. And we know he'll be fine. He will be fine, right? But to let him know in that hometown, you'll be fine no matter what. That's basically letting him know, get ready, get prepared, get your handkerchief ready, because you might be crying in a few days. But I don't want to tell you that. But I want you to know you'll be okay. I think the mom thought she was doing a good thing, but he immediately goes back into his head again. And I think at this point, Blake knows that, wow, either Garrett really got to them, or Becca could potentially be picking Garrett and has already warned the family of what's going to happen, because all the family members were completely detached. They were completely, to me, I think a little bit rude, especially that uncle. I think they all didn't give him a fair chance, and it pisses me off. And I think it didn't go well for Blake. He knows it didn't go well, and it'll be interesting to see how that really influences the ending decision. So Blake and Becca, she walks him out. She comes back in to talk to her family and debrief about both of the guys. And we're hearing that Becca's sister, who by the way calls herself Becca's soulmate, they're so close that she calls herself Becca's soulmate. And also Becca's sister has like completely blonde, curly hair, and Becca has sleek brunette hair. And I was just like, y'all, okay. Becca's sister goes on and says, I think that they're both great. You picked incredible men, but I think Blake will push you. He will be a partner to you. And I think he's so similar to you that it will work very well. And surprisingly, Becca's mom agrees. She says, yeah, I just got the sense that he was so genuine when he came in. I just got a different vibe from him. He came off very into you and very zoned in on the fact of who he is and who you are to him. And so the one person who doesn't agree with this assessment is the uncle. He says, you know what? I just really enjoyed Garrett. He's like a poet. Oh my God, his words, they really touched me. And at this point, I was like, man, somebody, some PA, some producer, just cut the, we don't care. We don't care. Because at this point, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what can you have possibly have said that sounded poetic? It sounded like bullshit. Are you fond of the art of bullshit? Because that's what it was. That was him in the art of finesse. Okay? That's what that was. That was not poetic. That was not inspirational. I felt nothing. And so to hear that one person in her family was Team Garrett, you should see the way her face lit up. I mean, she literally, while her mom and her sister were praising Blake, she was just looking like pained, like, wow, they're really saying nice things about him, and I know what I need to do, and I know that I don't think I want to pick him, but I'm hoping that they will make arguments for Garrett. And then as soon as the uncle was like, Garrett, she was like, yeah, that's my man. You right, uncle? I was just like, Blake is over. It's over, man. And I must mention that after the hometowns were over, her mom, she was having a conversation with her mom, and she said that she the whole time thought it was going to be Blake, and now she's feeling bad because she knows she has to hurt someone, and she doesn't want to hurt someone. And so her mom is like, it's gonna happen. You're gonna break someone's heart and you're gonna be okay. And I really like the way her mom was very soothing and very reassuring to her, and letting her know that it's okay, that this is the process, this is the show, this is what it is. You can't have both, and it's okay, and it's hard, and it's gonna be hard, but at the end, you will have made the best decision for yourself. So I really loved the way her mom handled her, but I found that her saying, oh, the whole time I thought it would be Blake, it let me know that, her feelings have changed, and she feels terrible about the fact that it's no longer Blake. So going into the final dates, I really saw them as useless, because at this point, she's already kind of started to signal to us that she may have feelings that have shifted, and she may be breaking up with Blake at the end of this. But anyway, she goes on a date with Garrett. They go around the Maldives. It's completely gorgeous. You know, I always love the sights, and they have their final time. And when they sit down to talk, she asked him, because they're about to go into a monumental date, is there anything that he wants to ask her? Is there any last minute questions he might have? And he's really like, no, I pretty much ironed out all my concerns. I feel like we're on the same page. I feel like I know where you are, I know where I am, and you know, you don't give me butterflies, you give me eagles. And I was just like, okay. Then he goes on to say that he will be completely heartbroken if she doesn't pick him, but he will understand if she's happy in the end. And so I think from that conversation, I just really got that Garrett was so about the situation. Garrett was fully prepared to win and fully prepared to not win. And I think he was more leaning towards the, if I don't win, whatever. I mean, do what's best for you, but I don't see why you would pick me anyway. I barely gave you anything to pick me about, but if you do, I'm here. Like, that's kind of the vibe I was getting from him, and it seemed like that was enough, because Becca was literally grinning so hard, and I'm just like, literally, these guys have to do nothing, like absolutely nothing to get you excited. Like, I'm so confused, so confused. So then we fast forward, and she's on her date with Blake. And now when she meets up with Blake, he is hugging up on her, kissing her, and they're having a day in the water. They're doing a lot of beachy scenes. So of course I'm excited, because I get to see the Maldives. I get to see the water and the beach and the sand, and just the shots are incredible. And so that always makes it better. And I also get to see Blake try to kind of shift her mindset, because I think at this point, Blake is understanding that if she hasn't picked Garrett, she's at least on the fence. She's no longer in his court, and he has to really reel her back. So he challenges her at the beginning of this date to be present in the moment, to be present in the date, and to not think about anything besides what's going on with them right then and there. And I think Becca tries to say, oh, I am present. But I like the fact that he did that, because he knew what was up, and he wasn't lying to himself anymore, and he wasn't just talking himself into a tailspin of emotions. He was just saying, you know what, if I'm going to do anything to change her mind, it's going to be right now. And he understood that she could potentially pick Garrett, and that she might just be picking Garrett, and that maybe he could change her mind, right? So in this moment, she just basically tells him that her off behavior and her standoffishness was coming from the fact that it's a big week, and that she has a big decision to make, and she doesn't want him to feel like she's not present with him. And I was just like, very interesting yet again, because she never mentioned that with Garrett, at least nothing that we saw in the episode. So again, I'm thinking, not looking good for Blake. So then we fast forward. Blake, in a hotel room, gives her a gift, and it's a little scrapbook with pictures and caricatures, and you know, just a cute little page of all their memories together. And Becca is very excited, and she's looking all touched and whatever, and they have a little cute banter back and forth. But I think for Blake, this was again his last chance to show her what he could offer, show how much he's been invested, and also say, if it doesn't work out, I leave this for you, and this is how I want you to remember me in our relationship. So I definitely think that the energy was very standoffish between Blake and Becca, but I think that she kind of tried to enjoy the last day she would have with him, because I think at this point she knew that while I'm going to be making a decision, and it's not going to be him, but you best believe I'm going to hug up on him. I'm going to feel all of the body one last time before I make that decision. It's the fateful day. Becca is saying that she made her decision. She knows that she's going to pick a great guy, but she also knows that she has to break the heart of a guy before she can get to her guy. And she feels really bad because she knows she's going to blindside the guy, and it's going to hurt the guy, and he's going to be devastated, but it has to be done. And so at this point, with all of the clues and everything that's been going on, I was like, oh, Becca, please. I was just praying like, Becca, please, just, girl, don't lose your head. Don't lose your mind. Just one time, girl. Don't pick Garrett. Please don't make me have to drag you. I was praying. I was saying, Lord, please. And of all places, they have this proposal on like this really nice platform, but to get to it, I'm guessing it's on like a private island. So to get to it, they have the guys boat in. So I'm like, this is even more stressful, guy. You come off a boat and you got about to get broken up with. You got to go back on a boat. Like, I was like, y'all doing a little too much for me, right? So Chris Harrison is standing there ready to meet the guy who comes out first. And Blake steps off of the boat first. And I was just like, she really did it. She really did it. Blake approaches. He says hello to Chris Harrison. Chris Harrison points him to Becca. He walks up to Becca. Becca's in like this white crochet bedazzled dress. Her hair is looking similar to how it looked at her last proposal. And I was just like, to me, I just saw foreshadowing of like, your hair last season led to a broken engagement. A crappy dress led to a broken engagement. And I think she had both of them yet again. And I was just like, sis. I didn't love the dress. I didn't love the hair. And I especially didn't love the fact that as Blake was approaching, she was smiling at him as if he was the winner. I was so confused. I thought they usually give off the signals, like the don't hug me too hard signals, or the stoicness in their face. A little bit of something to let them know, like, maybe don't give your full speech, just give the half of it, not the whole I want to get married to you speech. Maybe hold that off because my face is telling you it ain't you, bruh. But she didn't do any of that. She literally was like, hi, Blake. And then he compliments her outfit, so she looks beautiful. She tells him thank you. Like, the energy was a little too warm for somebody who was about to break up with somebody. But anyway, he goes on to say how he's fallen in love with her, how he's gotten through this journey, and how much he can't wait to take that next step with her. And as soon as he's getting ready to get on his knees, she says, stop, I have something to say. And she says, Blake, from the beginning. Actually, she says Blake and his last name, which I forgot, but she says his full last name, which kind of irritated me too. I was just like, why are you making it seem so formal? So she says, Blake Hawthorne or something. You have been an incredible guy. I've seen this from the beginning, and you've constantly shown me the way. You've surprised me, and you've made me feel so cherished. And I think because of that, for the longest time, I was closed off to other connections, and it made me, you know, cut off other connections. And I think that I just see a piece with another guy a little bit more. And he was just like, oh, he just started sweating. You could tell he was trying to figure out if it was a good speech or bad speech. But as soon as she said, I see it with another guy a little bit more, his sweat just broke out. Like, all his pores opened up and said, hello, we're here. Like, all the sweat that was in there just started falling all down his face. And he was just like, what? Like, what happened? Like, what? So he tries to process in that moment. She was just like, I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to hurt you. Can I walk you out? So they're walking out. And he was just like, what did I do wrong? When did it go wrong? And she was just like, you did nothing wrong. Like, you literally did nothing wrong. It was just because of I see it a little bit more with the other guy, and that like the relationship crept up in the end, and you were it in the beginning. Like, to be honest with you, you were the one I was gonna pick in the beginning, and I'm not sure that's the best thing to say to somebody that you're sending home. Like, it's like you were gonna be it, but then you still lost. Sorry. Hope that helps you heal your heart. So he's just like kind of starting to get into the about to cry phase, and he's just asking all the questions that really just break my heart. Like, what was it? Like, I just don't understand. And she just can't really come up with a solid answer, because there's not a real solid answer to explain such a mistake of a decision. Like, it's just like, how can you tell the person who loved you the most out of the entire cast, how could you really look them in the eye and say to them, it wasn't anything, it's just what needed to be done. I like someone a little bit more. I'm sorry to hurt you, and I know you would probably be a better fit, but I want to take this risk with this other guy. He's a little bit more challenging. He's a little more dangerous feeling. I just need to figure that out with him. And how can you really give Blake a solid answer when that's really the answer? And I don't think anything would have really helped Blake in that moment. And so we know the live show is happening. So Blake sitting there, Chris Harrison, looking very poised and put together. He looks hurt, but he's holding his own. And they bring Becca out, and he really just tells Becca that he watched the show back. He watched every moment, and he was looking for that moment where things kind of went left. And he just wanted to know, like, how did she come up with that decision? Was it a point in time that things changed? And she was just like, no, again. It's just that connection was a little bit stronger. I was a little more sure of Garrett, and I think I just felt a little more like I couldn't say bye to him. And everything you did was perfect. Everything you did was flawless. You were so kind to me. You were such a good guy. And I don't want you to leave thinking that it was anything about you. It just happened that it wasn't you in the end. And he was just like, I could tell he's still hurt. But instead of playing off of the I'm mad and I want you to feel bad for me, he really was playing off of the I bossed up over this last couple of months and I'm good without you, but I just want to get my questions answered. Like, kind of like what the emotion you give when you come into the job you just quit or something, or got fired from for your last paycheck, you know, where you're not trying to show them that you're struggling and this money's gonna help you out, but you trying to get your money and let them know that you still okay. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. Like he was still hurt by it, but he was definitely not going to let her see him sweat. And I was just like, I love the way he handled it. I loved it, because I definitely think during that couch moment that Becca was looking for that hard emotion, for him to be devastated. And the fact that he wasn't giving her that devastation definitely had her looking at him a little harder. Like she was looking at him like, what did I do? Did I miss something here? Was I right for sending him home? Like, wow, you're okay and I'm okay, but am I okay? Are you okay? Like she really wanted more for him, and he didn't give her too much. And I was proud of him, and I thought he handled it well. And it's for those reasons that I want Blake as my bachelor. I want him as the new bachelor. And I think that Becca definitely made a mistake in this moment, and I think he's still in love with her, and I think he might even turn down a bachelor role because he's still in love with her. But I love the fact that he did not let himself be overly emotional, overly hurt, or allow her to have that over him. He decided to be poised and put together and not let her get the best of him in this moment, even if he was completely hurt. And I thought he played this so well, and I think it definitely shook Becca up, because if y'all look at the footage, she was staring at him like, you're not gonna cry, you're not gonna ask me anything more, you're just gonna let me off easy. Like she wanted a little bit more with him, and he didn't give it to her. And I was just like, bruh, Blake, I fucks with you, okay? Then comes out Garrett, gets off the boat, and we know at this point he's winning. So he goes to the dock where Becca's at, he gets on, he starts giving this speech about how he's into her. And I could tell again, I tell you, every time Garrett talks, he's finessing. He sounds like he's just talking and like connecting words as he's speaking. Like he has nothing planned in his mind. He doesn't have coherent, like actual heartfelt emotions about Becca. Like it's just all like a game, and it really be pissing me off. Like for real be pissing me off. But somehow she just be so enamored by whatever the bullshit he's talking about. Like oh, I'm so in love with you. You give me hope. You make me want to be a better me. All this BS that made no sense to how he acted the entire season. Like all of this came from within the last week. And I'm just like, how does how does this flakiness trump consistency? Like how? So he gets on his knee. Then she says her little part about how she's been looking for the one and she didn't know how she felt, but it was at this moment that she knew that she was in love with him. She tells him, I love you. He's so shocked. He's literally so shocked that she said, I love you to him. Like he literally looked back like, you talking to me? Because I told y'all he was going to be okay either way. Like he was really just like, I'm chilling either way. You pick me or you don't, I'm chilling. Like he would not have been that affected if he didn't win. I truly believe this. And so hearing her kind of say it's you, he was just like, oh shit, now I got to do this. Now I got to do this. I got to propose. I got to, shit. So he just gets on his knee, opens the box, gives her this like 3-pronged gold and diamond cut. So it's a little bit of gold and a little bit of the diamond, and she's giddy and accepts the proposal. And I was just like, I gotta drag you now. So for all those who've been waiting, this is why I believe that this whole relationship will not work. For one, he is not genuine. He's not genuine. He came on here. We know his scandal with the Instagram likes. He liked all of these posts on Instagram that were transphobic, that were homophobic, that were racist and just showed a lot of bigotry. And he gave an apology mid-season about how, oh, I was just tapping and I didn't realize that double tapping could hurt so many people. And on the live show, he goes on to say the same apology and says that those are not his beliefs, those are not his values, that he was just randomly liking posts. That's a lie. It's a bald-faced lie at that. Because like I've said before, you do not go around liking multitudes of posts on accident that you don't believe in. Like let's just be real and let's just be clear. Call a spade a spade. You like the post because you agree with it, because that's how you feel and that's how you see the world. And then once you got caught, you got backed into a corner like a little bitch baby, you tried to take it back, but no. Now the light's on, you gotta stand in that truth because that's what you really believe. And it's very infuriating to me because from what I've known of Becca, she's been quite feminist and she's had all of these ideals, and it just seems like those clash. But he can really genuinely come on here and say, those are not my beliefs. I can't believe double taps have that much hold on the world, and I didn't mean to hurt anyone, and we've talked about it and we're fine now. Just like it's crap, it's bullshit, and you're not being genuine. So number one, that's why it won't work. Number two, he's flaky. Becca, I've said this before, Becca tends to attract flakiness. From all the points I made in the beginning of the of this recap, she was attracted to Ari even though he gave her minimal. She was the one reassuring him. She was the one giving that energy. She was the one telling him why their life would be great. She was the one telling him, I love you all the time. And even with all of the signs that he might have been conflicted, he might not have been really into you, she still stuck through it and stuck with him. Even though in the end, we know that he wasn't all the way into her, she still stuck with it. And I think the same could have been said with her past. I think she mentioned that guy there was something there. So it just leads me to believe that she tends to attract flakiness. And Garrett is very flaky. He told you that he had an ex-wife, that he was dating for years, and then got married to that same person, and within 2 months was divorced from her. And all you've heard about why it didn't work out was how miserable the person was, how that woman didn't get along with his family, how she made everything difficult, how she could have been, manipulative, and all of these terrible qualities and traits about an ex-wife that cannot come on and defend herself. For someone to come on a show like this and to drag I mean drag his ex-wife and say nothing positive about her, and also not put any blame on himself, tells me everything I need to know. He's flaky, and it lets me know that he might be someone who you wouldn't want to be committed to, because who knows what he will say about you? Who knows what the family will feel about you? Who knows if he really loves you like that? If he could date someone for that long and 2 months later they're divorced. I don't need to know why they didn't work, because all he's told us is things that were negative about the ex-wife. So if we're going off of that, it didn't work because of her. Not because he did anything wrong. Not because he had any role in a two-part marriage that, oh yeah, Becca, you're looking for 50-50. Not that he had any role in why it didn't work out. He was a partner in that, right? But yet, he did nothing wrong. He was an angel. Angel! He was a saint. And that's someone you wanna create a partnership with? That's someone you want to be with for life? Someone who has shown you that they could go so low and also be so anti everything you stand for, and you were complacent and you sat on that stage and you defended him? Wow. And number three, third and final point. Again, I've mentioned this partnership. She says she wants 50-50. And again, it all circles back to this. This is the biggest thing she came here for in this season. I want a partner. I want someone who's going to be equal to me. And all I've heard her and Garrett talk about is how great of a mom she'll be in. She'll be in the kitchen, making the kids sandwiches, and in the minivan, taking them to soccer, and all of these very traditional ideals that I have no problem with. But I have a problem with the emotion he's giving. I have a problem with the fact that they put so much emphasis on what they will be as parents and not the emphasis on the foundation of that marriage and that love that they'll have between each other. Because before you have kids, you need to be right with your spouse. And if the spouse that you're looking for is someone who's going to be a partner with you, someone who's going to give you 50 and you give 50, how could you think that that person would be Garrett when this entire time he's been giving you at max 30%? You have been putting in all this emotion. You have been prepping your family. You've been making everybody want to, you've been prepping them to love him. And he comes in and he cries to the family. He just cries to the family. And he doesn't show any of that to you. And that's someone that you think is emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, politically going to give you 50, where your values don't even align with him. All he can ever say when he thinks about why he loves you is because he can imagine what you'll be like as a mother? Is that what we've come to? And what you're telling me is you want 50. And the guy is not even giving you 30. And in every aspect, he clashes with what you stand for and have stood for. And those are the main reasons why I do not believe Garrett is the one for you. Now, that may have come off harsh. And that may have come off like, oh my God, you're looking into it too much. But that is what I'm seeing based on the person she went after. And unfortunately, I invested in this season and I invested my emotion and my time in this season just to kind of have it end like that. I'm disappointed. I'm disgusted. And I don't stand behind her decision. And I always try to be positive. Go back to old videos if you don't believe it. Even if I don't agree with the decision, I tell y'all, give them a chance, send them love, because she will need it. Because this relationship is a clash already. And I worry for you, Becca. So in order for this to work, if you want me to be positive, he needs to truly come on board with your ideals. You need to truly have a real conversation about how his views can influence your life and your potential future kids' life and the world's life, and make sure that he truly does not feel that way anymore. Because if he does, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not good. And for me to have sat up here all season and watched this season with every critique I had of her and every hope I had for her, I'm definitely disappointed that it had to end this way, but I'm happy it's over because it ended this way. And the most I can offer you is a good luck, is a give it a good shot, boo. And I will still root for you. I still root for you. Do I think your season was great? I don't. Do I think you picked right? I don't. But do I still want the best for you? I do. I really do. And so that's the ray of light of hope I can give. Season 14 of The Bachelorette. Wow, it just had to end that way, and good luck, sis. You're gonna need it. So that is the end of my season 14 finale recap. We are officially done with this season. I cannot believe it. I know this was late and tardy to the party, but I hope that it was well worth the wait, and I hope that whoever made it this far, that you will like this video, that you will comment, and you will subscribe. Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me if you agree with any of my points. I had to go in on her. I just had to. I did it as carefully as I could, and I still like her, but I definitely am not happy with this season, and I'm glad the season is over, to be honest with you. But we do have a lot to look forward to. Bachelor in Paradise is happening. I will be recapping Bachelor in Paradise. I know it's late, but wait on it, and just keep rocking with me. I so appreciate all of y'all who have been rocking with the kid. You already know what it is. Black girl who watches The Bachelorette is out for season 14. So thank you so much for rocking with me, and I will see you in my next video. Y'all be good this week.